All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. So let's switch cameras over here. See Andy there. He's still on a call, but all right, let's switch cameras here. All right, good morning everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Juan Morales. I'm the Senior Staff Field Application Engineer for SmartHQ Pro here at GE Appliances. And it's a pleasure to be with each and every one of you today. And we welcome you to this live training event where we will be demonstrating how to utilize the SmartHQ service application. And today it is going to be to diagnose laundry products. So in particular, our focus is going to be on this front load washing machine over here. So we're very happy to collaborate today with Encompass Supply, and we made a joint effort to bring you this webinar, and we're happy that you're here because in this hour you will learn all about how to implement this into your routine. This is a tool that is designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to allow you to run more service calls with the same resources that you have and with the same amount of time that you have. So there's various reasons for that. There's a lot of different things that we're going to talk about today that are going to essentially show you how you can leverage this tool to not only be more efficient, but also to increase your first-time fix rate. And when you can do that, right, when you can diagnose faster, make repairs quicker, and of course also prevent multiple service visits to the same customer because maybe something didn't go right the first time, that reduces your operating costs and essentially makes you much more profitable. So SmartHQ Service is a tool that GE Appliances has designed to do just that, and we're excited to share it with you today. Okay, my friends? So before we get started, I want to go ahead and just quickly share over here the diagnostic system with everybody. So some of you may or may not have this tool. Maybe some of you that are joining us already utilize it, already have it. But for those of you that are maybe joining us for the very first time, I just want to go over the system and then we'll go into the live demonstration. So at the heart of everything is going to be that Bluetooth module that you see right there in the middle of your screen. And that is going to connect using a standard RJ45 cable or Ethernet cable, if you want to call it that, to a port which is typically located in an easy to access location on the appliance. In the case of front load washing machines, the port is actually located right inside where you take out the detergent drawer. So if you remove the detergent drawer, there's going to be a little silicone cap over here, and that's where you open it up, that's where you find the port. For time purposes, we've already connected our Bluetooth module using the RJ45 cable to it, so it's set up already. But in your case, you would have to remove the detergent drawer to be able to do that. So with that said, my friends, once you do that, right, once you connect it, you're going to be able to communicate via Bluetooth between your mobile device and the appliance. So essentially, the mobile device, you do need to download the application. So you would download SmartHQ Service. And we're showing an iPhone here, but the reality of it is you can use an Android device as well, and it doesn't have to be a phone. It can be a tablet, an iPad, whatever it is that you wish to use. In today's presentation, you're going to see me using an iPad just because it's a larger screen. It's a little bit easier for everybody to see, but again, you're not limited to what you can use. So once you connect and you actually make the Bluetooth communication happen, you're going to be able to diagnose the unit. So for example, if you want to access the fault code information, that is going to be available to you with the push of a button. There's no need for you to go into the user interface and have to click a series of key code sequences. So you know what I'm talking about, right? If you want to go enter service mode, I think you have to hold down the start key, turn the jog dial, let go, press some buttons, and then navigate through various menus within the UI to be able to access fault codes or activate components. With SmartHQ Service, you don't have to do any of that. All you need to do is launch the application, and it's very intuitive. You'll see it when I go through it in a little bit. So in addition to the real-time diagnostics, you also get access to cloud-based service documentation. And of course, that's going to come in the form of things like a schematic diagram, right? So if you need schematics for any product, whether you're connected to the product or not, you just type in the model number and you can pull up the diagrams, the service documentation. Also, if you're an affiliated company with GE Appliances, you have access to those very important service bulletins. So those come in handy, especially when there's a known issue and we give you the parts information, the procedure. sometimes those bulletins will tell you that you have to do a firmware update. So we'll talk about how SmartHQ plays a role in that as well. And of course, we can't forget parts information, because everyone's going to need parts at some point. And with SmartHQ service, you can actually get the exploded drawings of every single appliance right on your mobile device. And we're going to show you a way today that you can streamline your parts ordering process and order your parts directly from Encompass Supply without having to go anywhere else except from your mobile device. So it's going to be a real thing of beauty, my friends. And again, it's a complete system. For time purposes, I just want to let everybody know, I've already connected the Bluetooth module to the washing machine over here, and I've already paired my mobile device, which in this case it is an iPad, to the Bluetooth module. So right now my iPad is actually talking to this washing machine, and we're going to demonstrate everything that you can do with it. Now, before I do that, I do want to mention that this is not going to be just a one-way communication. I want it to be interactive, so you are welcome to ask questions. Either you can unmute yourself and just chime in, or you can type your questions in the chat if you feel more comfortable doing that. Periodically, I'll be looking over at my screen and making sure that we answer as many questions as possible. And I'll be pausing briefly throughout the presentation to open it up to questions, okay? But again, please feel free to chime in. We're here to support you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the dashboard screen before we get into the demo, just so everybody understands what we're looking at and you can follow along a little bit easier. Thank you, Mr. Appliance of Yukon. I appreciate you being here this morning with us. So over here, what you can see is the dashboard screen, and you're going to see information like model, serial number, how long ago the unit was manufactured. So for warranty purposes, it's a great resource. But the heart of the platform is going to be really the diagnostic section. And in here is where you can see your fault codes, your alerts. You can go into diagnostic features to activate components, and of course, firmware update availability. So when we talk about firmware updates, this is, remember I said before that you can increase your first time fix rate? Well, with firmware updates, that is truly the way to do this, because if there is a software related bug that is causing the issue of whatever appliance you're working on, it doesn't have to be washers, it could be dishwashers, fridges, ovens, whatever. And under normal circumstances, as a tech, I would replace that board that's corrupt with the software with a board that has good software. But if there's a way that I can flash that existing board and bring it back to life just with a software update, because all you're doing is you're reprogramming the brain, then that means that you can resolve that issue in one visit in a matter of minutes without having to change any parts. So not only can you do it on your first visit, but also at a reduced cost in terms of parts. So when it comes to building customer loyalty, giving a better quote and still getting the job done, you're still going to fix it the same way. That's what adds value to your service. That's what builds your brand. And of course, when customers leave reviews, when they rate you on Google or whatever, they're going to give you 5 stars, and they're going to recommend you to their friends and family. So at the end of the day, it's a good thing for everybody. Okay, but let's go back over here to the dashboard screen. I kind of got a little carried away there. So let's start with the fault codes. If you're diagnosing, one of the things that obviously you would do is you would want to know what's wrong with the machine. So the first thing you want to do is diagnose the codes. And when you click on the codes, you will get a detailed description of what the code means and also how long ago it happened. So that's in terms of diagnostics. And then of course we can activate components, which we will get to in a little bit. But the other thing is you can actually, again, as I mentioned before, download service documentation, including the full service manual. So let's say you go out there and you're going to work on that combo unit, what you're seeing on your screen right now, which has, of course, the heat pump built on top. It's got like 20 sensors. I'm exaggerating, but it's got a lot of sensors. It's got a couple inverter boards in there. So, a unit like that is maybe new to you and maybe you don't know how to disassemble it, with the service manual, you can just follow along and it makes it easy. So if you get that phone call, and even if you never receive training on how to fix it, the service manual will give you all of that cool information. So that, my friends, in a nutshell, is the system itself. And then, of course, don't forget that among other things, right, you also get training bulletin information built right into the app. So I'm just giving a brief example over here since we're talking about laundry. of a bulletin that came out not too long ago. But essentially, this talks about a component that might be damaged on one of the boards, the main board here, and it's essentially telling you to check voltage levels, resistance levels on the drain pump, because the drain pump could be possibly causing this as a result of a short. So it's giving you a heads up, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Technician, don't just replace the board, because if the drain pump is shorted, you're going to fry that board again. So here we give you a lot of really useful information, and this is just one of many, many examples that that obviously are built right into the application. So with that said, my friends, what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and switch cameras over here. We're going to give you a full demonstration of how we are going to diagnose this product and activate some of the components. All right. For that, we're going to use a lot of this beautiful equipment that GE has provided us over here, and we're going to share the screen. So everything that you see me do on my iPad, you can kind of see it right there. We took away the glare, is going to be in real time. So this is a fully 100% live presentation. This is not pre-recorded. You're watching it as it's happening. The first thing we see over here is obviously we can see a model number, serial number. We can see the unit was manufactured in June 2021, and it's been running for 3 years, 218 days. So that's how old this washing machine is. Now, I can see in the diagnostic section that there are 7 fault codes. So if I click on that, I have to accept it's a little terms and conditions that you're a technician. And I can see all of my fault codes right here. I didn't have to go into the user interface to pull them. I can see them from my device. And if I click on any one, right, let's say the, I don't know, inverter fault, F48, I can see that this happened a really long time ago. It's not even a problem anymore. It happened 584 days ago. And it's basically telling me to do a spin test to check it. It's asking me to check voltage, things of that nature. So it's pointing me in the direction of where the problem is, right? And that's important because when you go to your customer's house and you ask, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, can you tell me, what's wrong with the appliance? The worst thing you can hear is, I don't know, it's broken. You're the tech, you fix it. Because then you have to struggle a little bit with diagnostics. I say struggle because if you do this manually, you got to go into the service mode. If you don't know what the codes mean, you got to call tech line. That takes time. And of course, that's not efficient. But being able to see all your faults right here on your screen and not having to call tech line because everything is right here for you, it makes it much, much more simple. In addition to that, last thing I want to say about the codes is you can clear them. And I'm not going to do it right now because I do have other presentations, but you can hit the clear button and that will basically delete the codes. So if you ever have to visit that customer again, you don't get confused and say, wait a minute, didn't I fix that the last time? So it's a good feature to have. Now, this unit does not have any alerts, so no alerts right now, but the alerts will typically tell you if the customer is misusing the unit, and that is what's causing the issue. I'll give you one example. You come home from vacation, right, and you have 2 suitcases full of clothes, and you want to wash them all at the same time. But you don't have too much time because it's late in the evening, the flight was long, you're tired. So you take your entire suitcase, throw it in the machine, and hit the quick wash cycle. And that machine is overloaded, and it's going to start to shake, rattle, and roll. And instead of washing the clothes in, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, you're sitting there 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, it's still spinning its wheels because it's gone out of balance, right? And that's not the machine's fault. That's the user fault, right? Because they overloaded it and selected the wrong cycle. So the alerts will give you a heads up in terms of things like that. And that's why they're so important. If we skip over to the firmware update button and I go ahead and click on it, you notice that there is no firmware update available right now. In fact, my apply button is grayed out, so I can't even click it. But if there were a firmware update available, then I would be able to hit apply and it would run through the process, which again, typically is somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes, and that's it. That would have resolved the issue, or just updated the board to the newest firmware. So that's how you would have your initial diagnostics. But now let's get into how we would actually test things. Okay, let's just say, for example, the complaint is I'm not getting water. You're getting a fault code that's related to a water supply issue. Obviously, we're going to check the basic things. We're going to make sure the supply is turned on. Maybe the hoses are in good condition. They're not like all kinked up, things like that. But once you rule out obviously the plumbing issues and mechanic issues, then we want to go into the electrical functions. So for that, we're going to go ahead and hit diagnostic features. We're going to select operate loads. And in here, you actually can enter the service mode. So one thing that you're going to notice, my friends, is when I hit the enter service mode button over here on my iPad, the display is going to begin to flash. Much like if you manually enter service mode by holding the start key, turn the jog dial, let go, and then I even forgot what it is because I haven't entered service mode manually in such a long time. So again, we want to share exactly as it is happening with you. So we're going to go ahead and hit the enter service mode button. And I want you to keep an eye on this screen right on the user interface, okay? Watch this. So when I turn it on, now the unit is in service mode and you can see that the display is flashing. And the reason it's flashing is because I've entered service mode directly from my mobile device. Very, very simple. So with that said, the first thing that I see is I can activate my water valves, my drain pump, my door lock, my damper, etc. Right? So let's start with the water valves and show you how we would activate components. And with SmartHQ service, my friends, you can activate components as easy as flipping on a light switch. Okay, it's almost like magic, right? Instead of going through the user interface in the service mode, you can just tap a button and activate, let's say, the hot water valve. So let's do that. For that, I'm going to switch screens over here, and you can see that that I have a camera pointed at the inside of the machine. So let's go ahead and press that hot water valve and see what happens. So hot water valve on. Here we go. So we've activated the hot water valve, and water's coming into the unit. Let me feel the water, see if it's hot. And it's warm. It's not exactly hot, but it's a little warm. And the reason is because I didn't exactly prime the line before, but eventually it will get hot. And as it's filling, I'm going to go ahead and hit the watch box key, okay? So the watch box key, my friends, is this button at the upper right-hand corner. And let's switch camera over here. And you can see that the first thing that you see at the top is the water temperature value in Fahrenheit, which is really cool because this is a way for you to determine if the sensor, the thermistor, temperature sensor, whatever you want to call it, if it's working, and it seems like it is. We can also see a little bit down the line the pressure sensor, which indicates to us that indeed water is filling that, that basket. And below we can also see the tub gallons. So now you can see at the top the water is getting a little bit warmer, the temperature, 70 degrees. Let me feel that again. Oh yeah, I can feel that water getting, now it's hot. Now I can definitely feel the heat in the water, okay? So allow me to sort of elaborate on this for a second, my friends, what we just did. Not only did we activate a component, so we verified that the main board is sending signal to the component, right? Because obviously it worked. We verified the component is working because we saw the water coming in, but also we were able to monitor other abstract components. And I say abstract because they're hard in effect to diagnose otherwise, like the temperature sensor and the pressure sensor, okay? Think about this. If you wanted to check your thermistor, your temp sensor, thermistor, whatever you want to call it, you would have to take your multimeter, set it to ohms, measure resistance. So that means take the unit out of the point of installation. That is a lot of work. We have a granite countertop here in this particular laundry room. We would have to slide out the dryer first, then pull the washer so that we can expose the top and take the, it's a huge endeavor. It's a mess. And with SmartHQ, we're able to do that in just a matter of minutes. Also, your pressure sensor, right? You know that hose that goes down from the main board to the bottom of the tub where the pressure builds up? So we were able to see the pressure sensor. Let's see what the inches are. 4.4 inches, which is because we have water in there right now. You can see the water. And that's telling us that the pressure sensor is working good. And of course, the hose has to be in good condition. Otherwise, we would not have read anything. And if we think about this, right, if either one of those parameters were off, then you would know you got a bad, let's say, for example, the temperature sensor was reading something abnormal, you would know that that needs to be replaced. Or if your pressure sensor reading wasn't detecting the rise in inches, it would mean you have a bad hose or pressure sensor is bad. And SmartHQ service would give you the fault code that is related to that issue. So diagnostics is super, super simple. When I say you can become more efficient, I'm talking about a repair procedure that would take you 30 minutes, 45 minutes, down to less than 5 minutes, all right? And that time that you save is a great thing for you because that time opens up capacity for you to run more service calls. And that's what I keep going back to, right? If you have this tool, you can be faster at your job, you can be more efficient, and essentially run more service calls throughout your day. Even if it's just one or two more, it makes a huge difference, right? And especially when we get to firmware updates, you're going to love that part. So with that said, my friends, I just want to go ahead and pause here for a second to see if there are any questions on the line. All right, so we'll continue, my friends. We'll continue with the training here. And
I do.
oh yeah, Brian, I think Brian, right? You yes, go ahead. Please ask your question.
So I see that the door is open. I don't know if I missed it or not, but you can do it with it unlocked because typically going through diagnostics, the door locks. So in
Yeah.
this case, you can have the door open and go through diagnostics.
So you're absolutely right. The door does have to be closed for demonstration purposes. Today, what we've done, and I'm just going to show everybody kind of what we did over here. So you know, there's no magic. We've actually taken we've taken this kind of door lock over here, and we've just tricked the door into thinking that it is locked. But yes, you're absolutely right. It does have to be closed because you don't want to run these tests with the door open and then maybe water can spill out.
Right.
I'm going to do a test a little bit later on where we're going to run the motor, and it's going to run really fast with the door open. But the reality of it is you're not going to be able to do that with the door open. You're absolutely right. So thanks for noticing that. And yeah, it's important that you follow, you know, safe procedures. But for today's presentation, so that everybody could see it, we just did it this way. But
Really
great
understand.
question, my friend. Yep. All right, my friends, any other questions out there before we move on? All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the next topic over here. And how can I forget? A lot of you out there, this is very important, probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about today. A lot of you out there maybe are wondering, you know, how can I get this tool? How much does it cost? Is there a monthly fee? Blah, 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 etc. Right? So I want to be the first one to say Encompass Supply and GE Appliances has created a great partnership where you actually have the ability, because you're on this call today, to pre-order this device. It's going to cost you $199. So the module is going to come in a little box like this. And you're going to get the hardware, which is a Bluetooth module. It's not a green one like mine. They gave me that one because I kept losing mine in the field. So they gave me one that's bright so that I wouldn't lose it. But yours is going to look something like this. It's going to come in a nice little case over here with all your cables. It is going to cost $199. But if you spend $2,500 in parts from Encompass within 2 months, okay, so it's very important that you buy $2,500 worth of GE parts from Encompass within 2 months, you will get a $200 credit, which means that you are getting this tool essentially for nothing. And in addition to that, you get a 1-month subscription so that you can test it out for yourself. So you're getting this at an incredible offer, right? I don't even want to say a discount. It's not really a discount. Encompass is just giving this to you. And you know, we partner with Encompass to do this because we believe that if technicians are empowered with this kind of technology, ultimately it is going to make them happier, right? As techs, customers are going to be happier because if you can fix their unit in a quick, efficient manner, they're more likely to continue to buy GE appliances in the future. Everybody knows with cars, with appliances, maintenance, repair is going to be needed at some point, but when that happens, you want it to be as painless as possible. And SmartHQ is, you know, it's designed to do that. So again, my friends, if you scan that QR code, we're going to be showing it also at the end of the presentation, by the way, but if you scan it now, you can actually pre-order your device. And again, it's $199, comes with a 1 month of subscription, but you're going to get a $200 credit if you spend $2,500 within 2 months of GE parts from Encompass Supply. All right, so that's what I wanted to mention, my friends. And again, great value, great tool. Take advantage of it because I don't know what the quantities are. I know Encompass has a certain number of them. There is a limited quantity So the sooner you can get it, the better it will be for you. And I also want to mention one thing to everybody. With the holiday season coming up, right? We're all looking for the perfect gift for that special someone that has everything, right? You know that person, right? That no matter what, like what can I get you for Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, you just can't find the right thing. The SmartHQ service bundle pack makes an excellent choice, and here's why. So first and foremost, it comes in a little nice little box like this, not with all this print that you see over here. This because they shipped it to me, but it just comes in a little box. You don't even need to wrap it. Just put a little bow on it, put it under the tree, and there you go. It makes a nice, easy gift. But this is the gift that keeps on giving, because think about this. If you're a service company owner and you want to give this, let's say, to one of your technicians or all of them, right? Maybe your top 10 techs. If they can become more efficient, if they can increase their first-time fix rates, if they can run more service calls because they have this tool, that's just putting money back into your pocket, right? And that's truly the gift that keeps on giving. They're going to be happy because they have this new device that allows them to work better, faster. And you're going to be happy because you're going to be much more profitable from those extra service calls. So at the end of the day, everybody wins. Makes a great gift. And my understanding is that there is no limit to how many of these you can get with Encompass. You just need to obviously spend the, what the requirement is, the $2,500 worth of GEA parts to be able to get the credit. But if you want to buy one of them, if you want to buy 5, 10, my understanding is that there is no limit. So this is a great time. All right, my friends, let me go ahead and take a look at the chat box because there is a question over here that I see. What is a monthly fee? So that's a great question. So once your 1 month of service expires, you are going to have the option to continue the service. You're going to get an email from SmartHQ saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Technician, your service is about to expire, your 1 month. Would you like to continue your subscription? If you continue on a monthly basis, so month by month, you pay $55 per month for the service on your mobile device. If you want to buy an entire year worth of service, it brings it down to 50 months, so you essentially have to pay $600. And now for those of you that maybe just want to test it out and you don't want to continue, you can just say, I don't want to continue, and then that's it. But then essentially this becomes sort of a nice looking paperweight. Okay, it doesn't function without the software. If any of you out there right now flinched about the price, like, whoa, 55 bucks a month, I don't know if I can afford that, or 50, whatever it is. Let me put it in perspective, okay? Let me tell you why you can. If you can use this tool just once a month, nothing else, just one time, to save you an extra service visit that you didn't have to make because maybe you messed something up, or, so if you can prevent just one service visit, you not only paid for the subscription, but you actually made a little bit of a profit in the process, because I don't have to tell you, you know exactly how much it costs to put a technician in the field. It costs way more than the $55 or $50 a month, whatever it is, okay? And obviously, you're not just going to use it once. You're going to use it multiple times. The time you save, the first-time fixes, and the cost avoidance in terms of ordering the wrong part or something like that, most technicians that I talk to in conferences, trade shows, they come up to me and they say, my first-time fix, my first-time completes, that's gone through the roof. And when I ask them, like, hey, do you have any complaints, any regrets about the tool? Like, the only thing that they always tell me is that the only thing they regret is not having gotten it sooner. That's 100% what their answer is. And it makes sense, right? Because once you start using it, you're not going to want to do without it, okay? Believe me. Who wants to pull this unit out when you can, to get to the board to check things when you can do it all from your mobile device? I don't, at least, all right? I'm just speaking for myself. All right, so let's see if we have another question in the chat over here. Limit 10 units. Okay, so there is a limit of 10 units. All right, so 10 units is the limit. I thought it was, okay, so thanks for clarifying that, Lisa. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and go into another really cool test that I promised you that I was going to show you over here. But before I do that, let me go back over here and just kind of share with you why this tool can help you avoid unnecessary parts, okay? So right now you can see that the machine has water in there, right? So yep, you can see the water moving around in there. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna drain the water. So we're gonna go to the drain pump function, and we're going to activate it. We're going to hit the on key. But here's what I want you to realize, my friends, okay? This is very, very important. In the field, sometimes you don't know whether it's your component, in other words, the drain pump, or the main board that is supplying power to that component. So how can you tell? Well, you could do a bunch of resistance checks, voltage checks with your multimeter. That you can do that. I used to do that in the field. But with SmartHQ service, you can actually just simply activate the component and look at the status. And if the components or the drain pump status changes from off to on, in this case, we're testing a drain pump, that would mean that my main board is sending power to the drain pump. So if the drain pump works, great. If it doesn't, my main board is good. The problem would be the drain pump. If we reverse that, right, if that status stays off, even after you hit the on key, that means the main board is not supplying power to the drain pump. So that would mean your main board is the one that needs to be replaced. And this is what allows you, especially on COD calls, to be able to quote a better rate for your repair, because you're still going to fix it, except you're not putting in two parts like I used to do when I was in the field, right? I would just say, you know what, it's not draining, bring a drain pump and a main board because I know that's going to take care of it. Well, you could argue the wire harness as well, right? But this allows you to pinpoint exactly which component is working. Watch what I'm going to do over here. So we're going to go ahead and hit the on key, and I want you to keep an eye on the drain pump status. It should go from off to on. Here we go. So we hit the on key, and the drain pump status now shifts to on, and I can see that the water is well, I can hear it, right? I can hear it draining, but also physically, you can see it down there. The water is going, and it's slowly going away into the wilderness and into the rivers and into the ocean and somewhere in another part of the world. So there goes that water. And also, as we are draining it, look at the pressure sensor in inches. The pressure sensor is dropping from, what was it, 4 inches before or something, or 3 inches, down to 2. And it'll continue now, it's 0.2 inches because the water is pretty much gone, and it's completely gone, all right? But again, my friends, the fact that, so let me turn this off. The fact that I was able to activate the component, see the status change from off to on, and know that my main board is either working or not, makes a huge difference. And this applies to anything, right? Refrigerators, washers, dryers, ovens. So it's a cooking season, right? In a couple of weeks, all of you are going to be slammed. When I say slam, I mean slammed with calls related to ovens not working or not heating properly, or an oven blew up because they put it in self-clean mode after 10 years of neglect. Right, you know what I'm talking about. So this allows you, for example, let's say you're checking for an oven, right, to see if why it's not preheating properly. You want to know if it's the element or you want to know if it's the control board. And with this tool, you will be able to tell exactly which is the culprit. It's a thing of beauty, my friends. It makes it so much easier to diagnose. Okay. Let me see. We have another question over here on the chat. And hello, do you know your website doesn't work? SmartHQ service web. Okay. So this is, thank you so much, Ruslan. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. So we do have a new link for SmartHQ service web. I was just informed of that, and what they told me in our admin team, our tech support team, is that they did send out a communication via email. Again, things in email sometimes go to junk, or you just kind of delete it or forget to read it. But I will share the link, because we do have a link that is functional. If you just enter your credentials, you will be able to sign in. So give me a little bit, because I'm going to have to find it, but you will be able to log into the SmartHQ service desktop version, and I'll share that link with you. Okay. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. Let me go ahead and move on to the next topic right now, my friends, or actually the next demonstration over here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back to the not exit service mode necessarily, but we're going to go back over here to the diagnostic features, and we're going to enter diagnostic tests. Now, again, for my friend Brian that was telling me about the door being open, what I'm about to do right now, okay, is we're going to run a spin test to ensure, for example, if you've already, let's say, replaced the motor, or maybe the entire basket or the speed sensor, whatever the case may be, right? And you want to check the unit for proper operation in terms of spinning, or even if you want to check for noise and vibration, this is a great test, the spin test, for you to be able to see what's happening. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit service mode, just in case some of you joined us. I did see some people joining a little bit late. So I'm going to show you how I actually got to this, okay? So from our dashboard screen over here, we are going to click on diagnostic features. Now we're going to select diagnostic tests. And again, we would enter the service mode by pressing this button down here, enter service mode. And just like I mentioned before, your display will begin to flash, meaning that we're in service mode. So again, going back to the spin test, okay, this is going to allow me to rotate the basket at very high speeds, okay? We're going to go up to, I believe, at 1100 RPMs. But again, I just want to reiterate the fact that we are doing this demonstration in a controlled environment. There's no pets, there's no children here, all right? If you're doing this in a customer's home, do not trick the machine into thinking that it's closed. Close the door. Leave the door closed and locked, because this unit is going to fly right now, okay? So with that said, let's go ahead and hit the spin action button. So spin action. And now what you're going to hear first is the drain pump run. So there it is. It's kind of taking out any excess water that may be in there. The next thing you're going to hear is the door lock. And let's wait for that. There it is. So the door just locked. Now the basket is going to begin to spin, but what I want you to look at is the graph that is right below, okay? So my graph right there is going to show the target speed. So there it is. My target speed right now is in blue. That is what we want to get to. So right now we want to get to 100 RPMs. And then the pink graph is showing the actual basket spin speed. So right now it's showing that it finally reached 100 RPMs. So there it is, 100 RPMs, not too fast, right? And once that is comfortable for the machine, in other words, it's not shaking, the accelerometer has detected that it's spinning properly and it's not shaking violently, the target will go up, and there it is. It just went up to 400 RPMs. Okay, so now it's going to start to spin faster and faster, and of course we can see that it's getting up there. So it's at 189, and as it gets faster, let's see what the next sample is going to be. 273 RPMs. So you can see clearly this thing is taking off. Okay, again, you have to do this with the door closed. We are only doing this with the door open for demonstration purposes in a controlled environment, but in the customer's house, please close the door and lock it. Make sure, well, it's going to lock. So now we're at 400, and I can start to feel a little bit of wind coming out of that. It's kind of like a turbine, like a jet engine. And now this is going to go up to 800 RPMs. So we're at 450, but now I can really hear it. Now I can really feel the wind resistance over here. We're at 599 RPMs, and it's only going to continue to go up higher. 751, there we go. It's getting up there. So as soon as it reaches 800, it's going to stay there for a little bit, and then it is going to jump up to 1100. That's when it gets really scary, my friends, okay? Okay, we've reached 800 RPM. We're at the point of no return. This is pretty wild, and my heart is kind of racing right now. And here we go, 1100. Now it's getting a little bit crazy. It's getting a little scary. I don't like that motor with the door open going that fast, so I'm going to kill it. I'm going to hit stop spin, and that's it. We're going to stop the motor, okay? So you're going to see the target speed drop to 0. There it is. It just dropped to 0. And as the motor begins to wind down, you're going to see the pink graph slowly begin to slow down, slow down. Now it's at 675. Whew, oh man, it's always pretty exciting when that happens. 475, and as it continues to slow down, you're going to see it drop to 0 RPMs. And my friends, what I just showed you right now is an incredibly useful test for several reasons. Number one, it allows you, if you just did a repair, let's say on the motor, on the basket, on the hall sensor, whatever it is, it allows you to verify that everything is functioning correctly, right? Because obviously if it doesn't, and there's a door, it just unlocked. If it doesn't get up to the speed that you want it to get to, then there's definitely a problem. And of course, you'll get a fault code that'll tell you what the problem is. But also, you can leverage this to check for balance of the unit, right? To check for noise and vibration, because obviously, if the unit is not leveled properly, if it's not balanced properly, when it gets up to those RPMs, it's going to start to shake a little bit. So we don't want that. We want the unit to stabilize, and that allows you, as the unit is spinning, to actually go with your tool and adjust the legs to ensure that the legs are hitting the ground solid and that they're not jumping up and down. Any leg that is moving up and down, you want to adjust it so that it's touching the ground firmly, and that allows you to have perfect balance with the machine. Okay. So the other thing is, of course, all the components, right? The RPM, the Hall sensor that's reading the RPMs, and the communication between that and the main control board. All of that is being read through SmartHQ service. So when your customer sees this, they're like, "Wow! Not only did this technician replace the parts, but also they went above and beyond and checked to ensure that everything is working to perfection." So that gives you the assurance that the product was successfully repaired, your customer's happy, and they are much, much less likely to ever call you back with any concerns, because now they know that you have the right tools, you tested it, and it's almost like a validation report, right? Like kind of like a validation report after you get something inspected or fixed. This is a great way to be able to tell if the unit was successfully repaired. So that was the test, my friends. Pretty wild there. We were able to spin the unit really fast. But you can do a lot more things. Obviously, you can check your other water valves. You can check a heating element if you have a heater in the unit. You would be able to test the damper door, the damper that allows you to shut the front door after the wash cycle is complete, and not worry about mold buildup. These GE front load washers have microban built into the boot over here, but in addition to that, they have a vent system that allows air to escape, so that even if you close the door, it is not going to get all moldy and smelly like traditionally front load washers do. All right, so that was a test, my friends. I want to see if there's any questions over here, and while we do that, let's exit this service mode. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can just ask away. All right, so there's that QR code one more time in case anybody missed it. So you can order your device, but let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. This is one of my least favorite when I was a technician, and this is what I like to refer to as no defect found cases. Now, these no defect found cases can happen on any product, okay? It could be a washing machine, it could be a refrigerator, a cooking product, an oven, a range, all right? And this is a typical case where your customer, my friends, is convinced, all right? I'm not saying they just think, but they are 100% convinced that their product is defective, right? That there's a problem with it. And then you go out there, you test it, you run your diagnostics, and you find out that there's absolutely nothing you can do to fix it because there's nothing wrong with it, okay? So these are very frustrating because, how can you fix something that you can't see, right? How can you explain it? Well, with SmartHQ service, my friends, we have a feature called cycle history that is built into the unit. And we're going to talk first about laundry products, of course, because that's the topic today. And this cycle history is going to allow you to see how the user has been operating the equipment to determine if the issue is user related. And how cool is that, right? How cool is it to be able to tell someone, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, the machine is not the problem. The problem is you're overloading it, or you're selecting the wrong cycle, or you're using too much soap and it's creating suds. You can't tell someone that unless you know for a fact that that's happening. But with SmartHQ, you can. Because take a look at this over here, my friends. We're going to be able to see just a sample that we took recently from a machine. And in here, in the cycle history, you can see the cycle selected. So you can see if they selected normal cycle, bedding, towels. You can see the cycle duration time as well as the maximum spin speed. So this allows you to see exactly what it is that that is causing the unit maybe to have an excessively long cycle time, or maybe if the unit went out of balance, or if it has some kind of sudsing issue. Now, in addition to that, if we look at one of these cycles over here, let me see what the cycle number is. If I look closely, I believe it is cycle number 832. We can see that the cycle actually ran for 92 minutes. 92 minutes is an hour and a half. And typically, you know, a cycle runs about an hour. So if I'm a parent that is expecting for my clothes to be done in an hour because I got to take wash the kids' uniforms and take them to soccer practice or something, and it's still running an hour and a half, I still see the machine spinning, I'm going to say there's a problem with it. But the reality of it is, if we go back over here, we're going to notice one thing over here. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. Look at this. This is the out of balance events that happened. So anytime the machine goes out of balance, it is going to add time to the cycle. And in this particular case, in cycle number 832, we can see that there were 7 out of balance events and 3 out of balance retries, right? So in this particular case, what's happening is the unit is, for example, if you, again, example I gave before, if you overload the machine and let's say you select the quick wash cycle, or you put in towels and you don't select the towel cycle, you select the normal, the machine is going to go out of balance. And when that happens, the accelerometer is going to detect that, and it's going to stop the cycle, right? As it's spinning, it's going to stop it because it's shaking too much. It is going to fill it back with water and try to reshuffle the clothes in an effort to sort of separate them, because sometimes they clump up into like just one ball. And every time that happens, it is going to add time. So in the particular case that I'm showing over here, it added an extra 30 minutes or so. And with this information, you can explain to your customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I can assure you there's no problem with the unit. The problem is that the cycle you selected for that particular load. The unit went out of balance, and here's how you can prevent that from happening. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you now on this unit. Let's take a look at what we have over here, what kind of readings and how to get into it. So if I want to go to cycle history, I would go to the diagnostic features. We would go to the cycle history button over here, and here's all my data. And I'm going to take myself out of the picture so that you can see a little bit. Oops, what did I do over here? Here we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to take myself out, and now you can see the full screen of my iPad over here. Take a look at the cycle duration time over here. Now, we can see that it's not excessive, it's not really bad, but take a look at cycle number 1236, 69 minutes. So in this particular case, the cycle selected was the normal cycle, and it took, again, 69 minutes. Now, if I select the normal cycle over here, so I'm just going to turn on the machine. So that's a normal cycle. It says it should complete in 55 minutes, right? Everybody should be able to see that, 55 minutes. But in this particular case, it completed in almost 70 minutes, which is about, if we do the math, it's about 25 minutes more. So again, the customer might say, why is it taking so long? If we go down here to our out of balance redistribution events, look at this, 7 out of balance redistribution events. And that is why, my friends, this particular cycle took longer to finish, because essentially what happened was the machine went out of balance 7 times. It had to retry to shuffle the clothes, fill it with water, move them around, respin again, and that's what added the time. Eventually the cycle did finish, but it took longer than it should have. And if that number is excessive, in this case 69 minutes, not that bad, but if it's 100 minutes, 120 minutes, you're talking 2 hours, then there's reason for concern, and you have to provide customer education. And let me tell you, when customers see you take out this tangible evidence, and you can explain, again, no problem with the unit, the reason is because it went out of balance, more than likely because you overloaded, they're going to believe what you have to say, and they're going to call you back. But if you just walk in there and say, hey, sir, ma'am, I don't know what to tell you. You must be doing something wrong. Maybe you're overloading it. Maybe the machine, all these maybes, you must be doing something wrong, they become ambiguities, and that causes customers to not trust you, and they're going to call your company, or they're going to call you and say, hey, the problem's still here, come back and take care of it. So having the tangible evidence makes a world of a difference. All right. Speaking of which, I want to go ahead and share another example over here, because it doesn't just apply, the cycle history doesn't just apply to washers. Look at this example of dishwashers, okay? It's a little preview of what we have upcoming in the next webinar, but with dishwashers, you can actually see the cycle that was selected. You can see the cycle duration time, and look at that, 4 hours. This poor customer is waiting 4 hours for their dishwasher to finish. But the reason why it's taking 4 hours, it's not because the dishwasher is broken, it's because they selected the option for ultra dry. And yes, if you want bone dry dishes in some of our dishwashers, you can hit that ultra dry function. Those dishes are going to come out drier than the Sahara Desert, but it's going to be at a cost. What's the cost? Time. So you might be wondering, why is that little light on still on? Why am I hearing a fan running? It's because you selected that ultra dry cycle. I mean, it could be a good thing because you want them to be really dry, but if you are in a rush to get those dishes out, that's going to cause an issue, okay? The other thing is, obviously, let's say you get a customer that says only the dishes in the upper rack are being washed and not the bottom ones. SmartHQ service in the dishwasher will tell you which wash zone was selected. So if you see all upper, or all lower, lower, and your customer is complaining that either one of them is not being washed, bingo, that's your answer. That's why, because they are selecting the either the upper rack only or the lower. And that's at the end of the day, that becomes just a customer education call, right? You explain to them, obviously you charge them for going out there, but you explain, here's what's happening and here's how you can prevent it. No parts needed, quick, first time fix, and everybody's happy, all right? So with that, my friends, again, a lot of you are probably going to be ordering this module today. And once you get it, you might be wondering, well, how do I get more of this training? So I want to let everybody know that GE Appliances does offer, in addition to the Encompass training that we're doing today, we do offer, independent from this, a training series called Fix It Like a Pro. And to gain access to that, all you have to do is go ahead and scan that QR code right there. With this Fix It Like a Pro training series, you're going to be able to see monthly live webinars similar to what we're doing today, but of course on various products. And you're also going to get access to an on-demand library of training. So you can watch it anytime, any day. And the best part is, my friends, there is absolutely zero cost to you. The reason we're putting this out there is because we want you to become more efficient at using this tool. We want you to become experts at navigating through SmartHQ service. Because if you can do that and obviously make your repairs much more efficient, much more easy, our customers are going to be much happier with GE Appliances. All right, this tool is going to obviously help you help the customer. And when customers realize that the repair wasn't as bad, right, as painless, as painful as they thought it would be, they're more likely to continue buying GE Appliances, which is good for us. So that's what we want. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with all of you, my friends. And last thing, last topic over here, we're running a little bit close to time, but last topic is firmware updates. All right. So don't forget that on the dashboard screen in the diagnostic section, if there is a firmware update available on the machine that you are connected to, you're going to see that icon show up that says firmware update, and then you click it, and then you can run the firmware update. So let me kind of reiterate how powerful this feature is. And if you only use SmartHQ service for firmware updates, you're already 10 steps ahead of the game. So a firmware update will not only resolve a software-related bug, like we said before, but in some cases, it is actually going to enhance the functionality of the product. Quick example of a beautiful season that's coming up, the holiday season, the cooking season, okay? We have firmware updates out there that will actually turn a standard range oven, or just an oven, into an air fryer. Okay, so by running the update, you can actually make that existing product work as an air fryer as well. So think about this, right? Let's say you get called in because the oven is not preheating. So you realize that it's a temp sensor that you have to change. So you change the temperature sensor. But while you are there, you take out SmartHQ, you plug in, and you're like, oh, there's a firmware update, and it's going to do X, Y, Z. Let's say add the air fryer. So not only have you repaired their product, but you've actually made it better. Now, whether you want to charge them for this or not, and I'll tell you, a lot of service companies, they actually charge for the firmware updates, right? They'll say, ma'am, sir, I can see on my application that there is an update available for an extra $50, $75, whatever. I could do it right now. Or if you want me to come back, I can do it then, but then I have to charge a service trip. 9 out of 10 people will tell you, just do it now. I'll pay for it because they don't want to see you back. Not because they don't want to see you back, but they don't want to pay you to come back on another service visit. So, and even if you just did the update as a complimentary thing, right, to upgrade their oven from just a standard oven to an air fryer, that builds loyalty because that customer is going to give you a great review saying this technician fixed my oven. Now it's cooking to perfection, but also it gave me the ability to have an air fryer function. And that's wonderful, my friends. That anytime you can do that, it makes it so much better. The combo washer and dryer. You know that beast that has like the heat pump at the top? We talked about it earlier. There is a firmware update now that adds a mode called pet mode. So if you have furry friends like I do, right? I love dogs, love animals, but they shed like crazy. All right, I said shed, okay? Shed, S-H-E-D. So obviously all of that hair goes into your clothes, and when you wash your clothes, all of that hair ends up in your lint trap, right? In the filter. So this pet mode, what it does is it actually runs a quick dry cycle first to get all the hair out of the clothes, and then it traps it into the lint trap so that you can clean it out. But then it runs the wash cycle, so now you're washing your clothes without all the hair, which is great. Now, one way you could do that with a standard laundry pair is take your dryer, so the dryer is what's behind me, throw your clothes in there, put it in a quick just air it out, right? You're not going to put heat, just run it for about 10-15 minutes. That's going to extract all the hair. Then take your clothes, put them in the washer. Believe me, it makes a huge difference, and it saves your drain pump too. All right, it's going to save your drain pump in the long run. So that, as a couple examples that I have for firmware updates is this one service bulletin that we have related to dishwashers, where the complaint is that the dishwasher is the fan is not running or is running too loud. All this takes is a firmware update. You don't have to change any parts, no boards, no disassembling the door halves. You know, sometimes you have to take the door halves, put them back together, never goes back the same way. You don't have to do any of that. Just update the firmware and on the models that are listed in the bulletin, it's going to fix it. Here's another one. We were talking about the combo washer dryer. In case the customer is saying that the dry cycle is taking too long, there is a sensor that you can replace, a humidity sensor. But in this case, you are required to run a firmware update because that new sensor is not going to talk to the main board if it's not updated. So this tool will allow you to do that instead of you having to order a board, which again will save you not just the time to order it, replace it, but the money it is going to cost. All right. So those were some examples I wanted to share related to the what did I just say, the firmware updates. And again, you can just find that on your dashboard screen over here. Whoops. So the firmware update button, you would click on it, hit apply, and then the update is done. And I hear all the time technicians tell me, here I am thinking I'm gonna go in there, have to replace parts, 10-15 minutes, I'm in and out of the house because of a firmware update, and it's fixed, and it's a beautiful thing, okay? So in terms of the dashboard screen, one thing I didn't talk about or two things I didn't talk about that I want to quickly cover is service documentation. So if you go to the product features and you click on manuals and bulletins, let's say that I want to get a schematic diagram for this machine because I need to test a resistance or voltage level. I can go to my mini manual. Let's share the screen over here. Whoops, I wasn't sharing before. So we go to the manuals and bulletins, mini manual. And watch this. I'm going to take myself again out of the picture because I want you to really see the clarity of these graphics. Take a look at it. When I pinch to zoom, look at the crystal clear quality that you see here. This is absolutely amazing because normally when you have PDF files and you pinch to zoom, they get all like pixelated and you see like squares. But here you're getting the real deal. I mean, you're getting super high quality graphics. There's your thermistor, your drain pump. You can see your thermistor resistance table with temperature, resistance value. But again, you don't have to do that because with SmartHQ, it'll tell you what it is. You can see your water level voltages, your inches, millimeters, if you measure that way. So all of this information, my friends, is available to you right at your fingertips. All of the training bulletins, service bulletins are also available here. And then, of course, we can't forget about parts, okay, because parts information is going to be important. And here is how, this is extremely important part of the webinar, my friends. This is how you can actually program your mobile device to be able to order the parts directly from Encompass. Here we go. So again, we're going to share the screen. You're going to go to, first of all, you want to know what part you need. So we're going to select one part under miscellaneous features. And it's going to display all the sections, the exploded drawings. So let's say that I needed my motor, all right, just the motor. over here. So we go to this section. Whoops, it's pretty sensitive over here, but we pinch to zoom and we see that the motor is item number 326. So we click on it and here it is, the motor. There's a part number right there. Super, super simple. I didn't have to Google anything, go anywhere. And this is the accurate part number. So if you want to order that, we're going to go ahead and copy that. So let's copy that for now. Now we're going to go to parts ordering, and then we're going to go to parts marketplace. And here is where you need to enter a code, because it tells you, it's going to prompt you. We already had the code entered before, but it's going to prompt you to enter a code. So let's go back over here. So parts ordering, parts marketplace. Well, I saved it already, but the code that I want you to enter is ENC23, because ENC23 is going to take you directly to the Encompass Supply B2B website. So you hit go and take a look at this, my friends. It takes us directly to Encompass Supply. Now I can take that part number that I copied earlier and paste it into the search field over here. Let's see if it allows me. There's my part number. We're going to search it. And there it is. There's a motor right there. Boom. I can order it. It says it's in stock. I can just place the order right then and there. So this is going to streamline, okay? When I say streamline, it's going to make your parts ordering process so much easier, because you can actually do it right from the customer's house. I need a motor, boom, place the order. You don't have to wait to go back to the office or ask maybe some of your admin staff to do it. You could do it right then and there, and it's super, super simple, okay? So remember the code ENC23, very important. If you forget it, just contact your Encompass rep and they will tell you ENC23. With that said, my friends, I want to let you know that when you do acquire this bundle pack, all right, there is a setup process that you have to go through, and it's very, very simple, okay? So essentially what's going to happen is when you open the box, obviously you're going to get your hardware, your cables, everything. There is going to be a little sticker with a QR code right there, and if you scan that QR code, it is going to take you directly to a video, which I'm about to show, which will give you step-by-step instructions on how to register an account online, how to redeem your code for the 1 month of subscription, and how to assign that license to either yourself, if you're the technician using it, or to one of your technicians so that they can use it, okay? So without further ado, my friends, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the procedure. So as we say around here, let's go to the videotape. This video will show you how to set up a SmartHQ service account and activate your bundle pack. To get started, you'll need to register your account by visiting service.dashboard.smarthqpro.com. It is important to know that account registration must be completed by the account owner before any technician can download and sign into the SmartHQ service app. Once this process is complete, you will receive an email prompting you to verify your account. In the event that you do not receive a verification email, it is possible you already have an account. In this case, click Forgot Password and enter your email address to reset your password. A password recovery link will be sent to your email. You can now sign into the customer portal using your login credentials. Upon your first login, you will be asked if you'd like to activate a bundle pack. Click Yes and select the number of service modules you have. For this example, we will activate one bundle pack. Enter the MAC ID found on the Bluetooth module. Be sure to use capital letters, as this field is case sensitive. Your subscription is now activated and you can begin assigning technicians. Under My Purchases, you will see that one license is available. Let's go ahead and allocate it to a technician. Click Allocate Licenses and enter the technician's information. Please be sure to select the correct device type and click Save. Once the license has been assigned, the intended technician will receive an email from SmartHQ Management outlining the following steps. First, download the SmartHQ service app from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Open up the app and select Service Tech. Even though an account has already been created for you, you'll still need to reset your password to something you can remember. To do this, click Forgot Your Password and enter the email address associated with your account. It is important to note that you must enter the email address used in the initial communication from SmartHQ Management to reset your password. A reset link will be emailed to you. When you receive it, click Reset Your Password. If you do not receive a password reset email, it's likely you haven't verified your account. Please look for an email from noreply-smarthq to verify your account. When creating a password, please be sure that it meets the noted criteria and click Save. You may now sign into the SmartHQ service application and begin utilizing all of its amazing functions. If you have any questions about this process, please email smarthqservice.support@geappliances.com. All right, my friends, so that is how simple it is to activate your account. So I'm just going to kind of reiterate, and we did have a question where you can get this video. So two ways. I put the link in the chat box. So if you just click on it, it's on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and type in SmartHQ Pro, that's our channel, you'll be able to see the video there. Also, if you scan the QR code in the box, once you receive it, the QR code will take you directly to the video as well. Now, as far as just kind of recapping the process, right, when you actually get this device, so the first thing you need to do is set up your account on the dashboard website that we gave you. So what is service.dashboard.smarthqpro.com. Set up an account. Then it's going to ask you to redeem your bundle pack code. So on the box itself, not on the box, but on the Bluetooth module, there's a sticker. You have to make sure that you redeem that that MAC ID. It's kind of like if you get a gift card and you have to scratch off the, for a code. It's very much the same thing. So once you redeem it, then you now have a license available. That license, you can either allocate it to yourself, or you can assign it to one of your technicians if you're getting it for one of your technicians. But just know, my friends, that once you redeem the code, the clock starts ticking. So from that very day, you have 30 days to start utilizing this service. After 30 days, obviously it expires, right? And then after that, you can continue. And then the last thing is, if you assign this to a technician, that technician will receive an email with detailed instructions how to download the app to their phone, and also that they need to reset their password. So just let them know that they download the application to their mobile device. When they sign in, they're going to sign in with the email address that you assigned, but they have to reset the password to something that they can remember. You're not going to set it for them; they're going to set it themselves, and then that's it. That's pretty much the entire process. And again, if you missed any part of this, the video is on our YouTube channel, and somebody's asking for the link for the website, and yes, I can certainly do that. So let's bring it up over here. Service.dashboard. Yep, here it is. I just found it. Let me pop it into the chat. Boom, there it is. Okay, so that's the link to be able to create your account, and that is what's going to allow you to. You can create it now. There's no charge for it, by the way, to create an account. Once you get your product, obviously you redeem the code, and then you can begin fixing appliances with SmartHQ service. All right, that's how simple it is. And again, my friends, this is a nice way if you wanted to, again, give a technician of your choice, or maybe all your techs, a gift for this holiday season. It's an amazing gift, really. They're going to appreciate it because it's going to make their job a lot easier. And you're going to appreciate the return on the investment that you make, because they're going to be able to run more service calls, be faster at what they do, get more first-time completes. Again, a nice little box, put a little bow on it, throw it under the tree, and you're ready to rock and roll, okay? All right, my friends, so SmartHQ website. Oh, you're talking about the new, yes, let me go ahead and find it over here. Give me 1 second. Sent. So I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the all right, let's pull it up over here. Copy. All right, just found it. Okay, there it is. So there's a link, and that should give you access to the SmartHQ service web. You can sign in with your existing credentials, and you should be able to get in there. Okay. All right, my friends, unfortunately, we are a little bit past time, but I just want to say thank you to everyone that joined this morning. Thank you to Encompass Supply for your continued partnership. We will be having another one of these webinars in the very near future in December. It's going to be on dishwashers, I believe. And we are working also on a full webinar on schematic diagrams, how to use a multimeter to test components, how to interpret those schematics into practical uses for the field. We're going to be partnering with Encompass to do that in the near future, so stay tuned for that. This is going to be especially important for those new technicians that maybe you hired and maybe they're not very well versed with how to read those schematics. We will talk through that in very fine detail, okay? But for now, my friends, unless there are any other questions, is a service fee for one device or fee to access app for everyone? So one application, one subscription per device. That's how it works. To answer your question, Brian. Thank you for asking. Andy, you want to say some last minute words here before we go?
Nope. I appreciate you all attending. I'm the training manager. Just note that on Encompass.com, the training no longer requires a login, and we are very focused on bringing manufacturers to do our trainings going forward. So to back step one, your techs can sign up for training without having to use your account information. And we appreciate your attendance. And Juan, once again, thank you for your wonderful presentation this afternoon.
Thank you, everybody. And if I don't see any of you, have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. So again, thanks everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.